everybody, and welcome back to episode 5 of the BeFierce podcast. Remembering that if you're a first-time listener with us, our BeFierce podcaster here at With You With Me is a medium for us to showcase the military veterans that we help support through their transition journey. But we actually also highlight the good news stories that we have internally with our business as well, highlighting some of the people that work for us, that do the good that we provide to the community. We also use our BeFierce podcast to highlight some of the amazing employers that we work with and some of the amazing ex-service organisations, tongue-tied there, sorry, ex-service organisations that we partner with that provide that community support for military veterans and their families. So, as I said before, my name is Javiera and I'm Head of Partnerships here at With You With Me, and I am your host for the BeFierce podcast. Now, I have a very, very special person with me here on my left, or my right? No, it's definitely my left.
It's your left, yeah.
Definitely my left, yep. Who is joining us today. I'll let him introduce himself, but this is Eric, everybody. Hi, Eric. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me on. It's very nice to be here up in the Sydney office. I'm usually Canberra side, so
correct.
It's very nice to be here with the gang.
Good.
Hanging out with everyone. It's been very fun.
Cool. Now, Eric, you've had a bit of a different sort of journey into With You With Me. So that I don't steal your thunder, I've got some questions that obviously I put together. I wanted to know if you would be able to tell our listeners in the podcast, or those who are actually watching us on the YouTube channel, can you just let everyone know what your story is and how you got to actually working with You With Me first, and then a little bit about you as well.
Yep, 100%. So as you touched on before, I'm not from a veteran background.
Sure.
I haven't served, but within my journey, there's been a couple of key kind of touch points that I think are similar to the veteran experience coming out of the military.
Sure.
And I think are things that we look at focusing on here at With You With Me all the time.
Yep.
So I'm Eric. I'm a cybersecurity instructor here at With You With Me. I instruct on our cybersecurity analyst course. And how I found the company, so I have just recently graduated. I'm 22 years old. I'm a grad. I'm a history and IR major. Non-technical background at all, completely non-technical, which is a big surprise to everyone, but it's also a really interesting part of the story, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. And so how I found the company is I started to get towards the end of my degree, and as a lot of people my age are finding, it's not the same kind of story that you had 10, 20, 30 years ago, where it was you go to school, you get your degree, then you get a job.
Sure.
It's a lot more competitive. There are a lot more grads. And the standards that employers are looking for, and this is one of the points that I think everybody's sympathetic to, is a lot higher.
Yeah, absolutely.
For entry-level positions are asking for 5 years experience. And that's just not the standard that used to be around.
Yeah.
But it's also something that's extremely hard to meet.
Yeah.
Coming out of someone who, I went straight from high school into uni, did three and a half years there. And now wanting to get in the workforce, it was just totally different expectations that I thought. The skills that I developed, while I find valuable, and a lot of what I think university about now is learning to learn and learning to be able to upskill within your career.
So true. Yep.
Definitely. It just didn't align with what a lot of hiring and a lot of what the competitive industries look for.
Sure.
And so what I liked about With You With Me is their attentiveness to the idea that there's underemployment.
Yep.
And that it's not necessarily a problem that there aren't good candidates, but that there isn't a process to match candidates' skills to in-demand tech roles.
Absolutely. Yep.
Now, in talking about tech, I'm someone I've always been interested in tech, always loved getting on the computer and stuff like that. Bit of a nerd when it comes to computer stuff too. And so I wasn't always spending my time with the nose in the books, but tech was always something I'm very interested in.
Sure.
And so when I found With You With Me, I first started off volunteering at our career expos, which I don't know if a lot of listeners will know about, but that's something that our brand's pretty well known for.
Absolutely.
And I was just completely infatuated with the model. I loved our engagement with veterans. I loved the message, and I loved being able to build a network for me across tech industry in Australia.
Great.
And where I came on from there, I started helping off doing some office work, admin work within the academy.
Sure.
And then I was approached by my managers and asked if I wanted to upskill and start helping out on the cyber security analyst course. dedicated myself to that for the last 8 months, and now I'm here. Just started full time after
Yes.
being casual for a while, and I'm very excited to keep jumping into the cyber world.
Yeah, amazing. So for everyone else, I suppose I might just expand on that. So Eric's obviously volunteered his time, and then he did obviously the casual work with us. But then you took it amongst yourself by going, you know what? I am actually doing a university degree that's not in tech, right? So you had the real courage to kind of go, oh, do my skills actually align? Can I actually do this? Can you, I suppose, explain our process? Because I know I've told people in the past that have listened to our podcast, but how I suppose that helped you, our potential testing actually helped you to kind of go, actually, no, I will be able to do this.
Yeah, 100%. So as I think it's a similar story across university graduates or university attendees at this point,
Sure.
I kind of hit a point in my degree where I came in, didn't really know what I wanted to do, had a couple of interests, and then hit a point where you see a lot of people choose, do I want to pick a major that I'm not particularly interested in that might lead to a practical kind of placement?
Sure.
Or do I want to pick something that I'm good at and that I enjoy? And so I kind of chose that route, and I've always been good at history. I've always enjoyed writing and analytical research.
Yeah, okay.
And so I really jumped straight into that. And so that was my journey with my degree, is that I want to develop my skills to make myself adaptable.
Okay.
Now, when I came in contact with WithYouWithMe, of course, there was nothing on my CV to suggest that I would be good for a job role in tech at all. You know, university grad with a Bachelor of Arts, not a particularly uncommon degree.
Sure.
And then, but what our kind of internal testing had revealed is that the psychometric and the kind of personality aspects of how my mind functions really helps to slide into that kind of analyst role or technical roles within tech as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so I suppose what I sort of want to emphasize to everyone that's listening to us here, so non-technical background, you took our potential testing, which had characteristics from your personality. So yeah, you might have had the aptitude, you know, because obviously we test to determine whether or not you have the capability to learn, but it was those highlighted points that kind of made you go, oh wow, actually I could do this.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the understandings or one of the things that I came to understand as I kind of moved into this world is that skills are skills that can be taught, you know?
Exactly.
And we're always trying to learn skills itself.
Yeah.
And so I think people shouldn't be afraid of trying to upskill themselves and trying to learn new skills. That's the whole point of learning, and that's what a skill has to be taught as well.
Yeah.
Nobody was born and was like, I know cybersecurity.
Exactly.
I know what that is. It's not a genetic gift, you know? Everybody has to put time in to learn.
Yeah.
And so that's what I found myself really interested in. I've always liked learning things anyway, and I've completely had the capability to go and do that myself.
That's awesome. That's a fantastic story. So I suppose, look, you've obviously shared your story with us, how you know your journey came into working with us as a full-time employee. So I should probably say congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So Eric's here at the moment with us in our Sydney office, doing actually his onboarding, which has been really fantastic. And last night we had the opportunity of hosting one of our academy events where Eric presented a bit of a kind of an insight to the WithYouWithMe Cyber Security Analyst course. So we had a good online attendance. We had a couple of guys that were in here that were genuinely really interested in actually learning, that were looking for that career sort of shifting moment as well, which is kind of where you were in your journey as well.
Yeah, and it's the exact kind of thing that someone like me 18 months ago really would have needed too. That kind of information about what my capabilities are as someone that can transition into this area.
Yeah.
And so that, you know, those are always the highlights, talking to people that, you know, are going through our training, talking to people that are about to commit to our training about don't be scared. We'll guide you through, and you definitely have the potential to hit these kind of skills.
Perfect. So I suppose that might be a really good segue into the next few questions that I have. Maybe if you can explain to everyone what your role is as the cybersecurity course analyst instructor. Oh gosh, I just twisted that around a bit. And then I'll follow on with just, I suppose, why is the way that we've done the model, why you think that's important, and I suppose what you're trying to do to achieve. I'll ask you about, a little bit more about your journey after this. But yeah, so if you could just start with, I suppose, what your role is within the Academy.
Yeah, sure. So my role within the Academy is I'm an instructor on our Cyber Security Analyst course, which is basically our entry-level cybersecurity course. We offer a variety of cybersecurity training programs here, penetration testing being the other big one. But the Analyst course is for someone that's gone, look, either I have a background in IT or, a lot of SIGIs and stuff like that coming out of defense too, that want to move more into the cyber realm because they think that fits them, or even just baseline people that are like, I've been in defense, I was doing X job or Y job, and now I'm coming out and I don't want to go do manual labor. I don't want to go work physical. I don't want to drive trucks. I don't want to go work in construction. I want to do something with computers, something that's a bit easier on my body.
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
a story we get a lot too.
Yeah.
And it's, I can tell you, sitting in office on a computer is pretty easy on your body.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of what I do is I then guide people through the course. There's a number of assessments that we have to mark as well, and kind of facilitate their learning as they go through our online material, and then towards getting their certificate at the end, and then off we try to put them into the job space.
Yeah, so I suppose it's probably a good point to emphasise that our academy is actually an online learning management system. So it kind of gives people the opportunity that aren't necessarily in your metropolitan areas.
Yeah, exactly.
So what we find is some of our military members who transition from the Defence Force, they go into places where they go back to their families, and sometimes that's in rural and remote areas.
Yep,
so
100%.
if they want to train, they actually have the ability, because we've got internet, we've got obviously
It's 2019.
exactly. 5G's coming, people. So so they can actually. That shouldn't be a barrier. It's probably what I'm trying to get you to.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Not a barrier at all. Not for learning the skills and not for finding what direction you want to go with your career.
Yeah. But okay, maybe if I can just ask you, for those people that are listening or watching us, what if they're a type of individual that doesn't necessarily yes, they're online, so they can do that's self-paced and stuff like that. But what if they get stuck? What's an avenue that they can do to reach out to you?
Yeah, well, that was something I was going to bring up as well. Is that a lot of our candidates slide through the course pretty self-directed, and it's designed to be self-directed.
Yeah.
But we're there to facilitate your learning at whatever level you need it. So there'll be days where it'll just be emails between candidates or messages over our LMS platform. Yep. But then there are days where I'll have to hop on a call and we'll walk through a concept or an assessment that's been particularly hard, and that's part of my job, and that's part of what I love doing. Because not only is it an opportunity for them to reach out and learn in whatever way they need, but it's also an opportunity for me to learn as well. Yeah. I'm that kind of verbal learner where I love having conversations.
Sure.
And so I always love to have chats to people that are trying to get through our course at whatever level they're at, and guiding them through. And it makes me feel at peace, when I can talk to someone and be like, do you understand this now? They're like, oh, I'm miles ahead from where I was, 15 minutes ago before a phone call.
Perfect.
So we're available at all levels of contact, from hopping on the phone to an email to you can just glide through yourself.
Yeah, perfect. What I might point out there is on our learning management system that we do have, there is a chatbot element that I know that they can click to sort of book some time with you guys as well.
Definitely. We're open to book time either directly through us or through the Pathfinder team. And we also like to facilitate a community across the course itself by enabling students to be able to talk to each other, and that's especially really good for our students based in the United States, of course, because we're not available at all times during the day.
Sure.
And so what we do when we establish a kind of community is a space for people to be comfortable and ask questions like, I need some help with this. Is anybody struggling with this? That works with either the theoretical parts of the course or the more technical elements when people are trying to, get into the real technical aspects of cyber. We like to facilitate all kinds of communication to us, to other students, to be able to cover most ground when it comes to what help students need getting through the course.
Perfect. Because I know obviously what we try to do in some of the testing that we have, we test for actual people's learning styles. So what that does for individuals is it helps them understand that yes, while it's all online and self-paced and stuff like that, we have different mediums that they can do that, where it's, chatting in the community group, or whether it's just reading the material, listening to it, or watching the visual.
And we also run a series of online webinars based at our pieces of assessment around the course too.
Great.
So that's great for people that love to tune in, get into the chat when we have a live stream, and talk to each other and ask questions and listen to someone else talking through it. Because it's exactly like you said, everybody learns in a different way.
Exactly.
Whether it's through that kind of, they like to learn by themselves, they like to read through all the material, watch the videos, and then usually that's a really fast kind of, or the internet really allows for a fast transaction of that kind of learning, right?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
It's the most opportune one. But that's where we come in, is we have to cater to all learners, because I've worked with people across the board that learn in all different kinds of styles, and we really want to give an equal opportunity for that. I'm not the kind of reading one. I spent the last 15 years of my life reading things. I'm a bit sick of it by now. And I've got a bit of an attention span issue when it comes to things on pieces of paper. My eyes tend to wander and go away. But from having a conversation, I love to try to teach people things, and I love to discuss things. And that's another really common learning style that we like to cater to. And that's, of course, I love hopping on the phone with people like that. And then when you kind of connect with someone else that's the same kind of learning style, it's just the best feeling.
Great. So I suppose, you've kind of touched on some of these questions that I have here, but I might jump to this one. And you sort of touched on it before, but I want you to elaborate a little bit more. What's the favourite part of what you do?
It's a tough question. I think there's two kind of answers for that. There's one that's more me focused, and then there's the more and then there's the more altruistic focused one. So what I love doing for the community is I love delivering the content, and I love seeing people start at our course and introduce themselves and then get through, and I see them get their certificate and be like, I'm happy to have finished this, and watch them develop their skills over the course. Being able to watch the facilitation and development of candidates going through our course is very satisfying. And it really makes me feel like I'm giving back, which is something that, I'm kind of a natural teacher in that sense. Always been told all my life, you're going to be a teacher or something like that, because I love history, and that's the only job people seem to think about when you like history. It's like, you're going to be a teacher. So, the amount of times I've heard that.
Really?
And and so it is kind of in there, and that I love facilitating that kind of growth. But and from a personal sense, I love being able to engage with the different topics people come up with. Across the course, we have it's not just we set people to learn about specific concepts or events. We like to get them to submit their own things that they want to write about, right? So we have different assignments that are research assignments that they go away and pick different case studies or different examples of things in the cyber world to write about, and that gives me an opportunity to go and learn about those things too. Different points of research that they've come across that I haven't particularly come across, and every time we go through a cohort, even just the baseline kind of entry level stuff that we have, I seem to learn more and more about it as well. And
that's great, because that kind of gives an opportunity for not only you to learn something, but other people, if they're sort of, like you said, there's that online sort of community chat that is available to them.
100%. They're always sharing all the information they're coming across too, and you come out of it with a lot of good resources, a lot of blogs to follow, podcasts, stuff like that.
That's cool.
It's very, very, very good.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, can I just can you share any insights, I suppose, on some of the important work that you're currently doing in the academy? What's to come, I suppose, in that cyber?
Definitely.
Sort of?
Well, so what we've done at the moment is we've got a really strong baseline of what we offer as our kind of educational pathways. We have the analyst course, which is your entry-level tier 1 analyst role, kind of way of getting into the cyber world. And that touches on a lot of different concepts. If you're into cyber, it's stuff like incident response, core concepts, but also using SIEMs and threat intelligence. What we've got after that is the penetration testing course, which is, if you're talking about cyber, there's defensive cyber and offensive cyber. And penetration testing is our path into the offensive cyber world, which is a more technical based course, and it's more advanced than the baseline analyst course. But it's aimed at providing more specific technical skills to people that want to go into that world. What we're currently building into a model of is not just focusing on the analyst course and the penetration tester course, but building a cyber pathway in which when a candidate comes through the cyber pathway, they'll be able to pick what areas they want to specialize in, whether they want to look at more penetration testing or threat intelligence or incident response. And so we're developing more avenues and more platforms and more course material to be able to specialize in the areas that you want to go through and to upskill further. We don't want to be just a baseline course and our entry-level kind of offensive cyber course as well. We're building into something that can be upskilled from people that are just entering the industry or people within it that want to move either vertically or laterally across to other fields too.
Yeah, and I think that's really important to touch on and elaborate here, that this ties in obviously with the other business arms that we have
100%.
Here at With You With Me, is that's part of our grow model, what we call our grow model with You With Me. So I suppose to use the example you said, so Eric, you're teaching the cybersecurity analyst course, so someone can actually do that course, retrain within an average of 100 hours. Then with our deploy model, they can actually go out and kind of utilize training or use the training and actually apply it into a job.
Yep, 100%.
So then they go into that job, and like you said, perhaps they're working on a contract that we've obviously With You With Me have negotiated within government. They can go in there for about 6 months, learn some skills, and during that time they can actually continue to learn as well.
Well, that's. I mean, cyber's a constantly developing field, and this is something we always talk about. As devices and networks and products get more and more, more and more pop up and they get more and more complex. There's more and more things for us in the cyber world to think about. How do we secure those things? You know? Products are always built with the features in mind and not the security in mind.
Great.
And so what we really need to do as cyber people is keep looking out for new things that we need to learn. There's always going to be new vulnerabilities, as we like to call them, but just new ways for baddies to get into our tech, to put it in layman's terms.
Absolutely. And I think I don't know about you, Eric, but I think it's a really sort of important highlight point, the way we structure our learning, because it is ever evolving. The fact that we're upgrading and adding new materials and new content, like you said, we're building out all these pathways, it actually gives an opportunity for veterans or employers who actually are buying those courses to upskill their internal capability.
100%. And because of the way that we structure it within shorter term courses, it's more able to be adapted to what's constantly changing in the cyber world. The thing they say about cybersecurity and this kind of training is that I could sit down and do a 4-year degree now, and the stuff I learn next week is going to be irrelevant in 4 years' time. I mean, it's just such a changing field that you need that kind of fast-paced learning that we offer. And that's why our course is constantly getting updated. Coming to the end of a cohort now, we're in our redevelopment plan where we have to start updating some of the core stuff to keep it in check with what's going on in the cyber world. Yeah,
and I suppose that's a really valid point to say to any military veterans or spouses as well, because obviously this is a program that we're for military spouses as well. Just to emphasize that point. So the opportunities that we have, especially within that cyber pathway, is about you learning those entry-level roles so that once you actually have those, you can apply those skills, and then you can keep growing and developing because we're updating that material all the time. Constantly. Yeah, and so I suppose from a perspective of a hiring manager, like you were saying before, going back full circle to your story, is that, those entry-level roles that they're talking about, or those next-level roles, it's about having that experience. So if people are able to learn things quickly, then go and apply that training, but then still upskill, you're more competitive. 100%. Yeah, you're 100% more competitive. As well, if you show that willingness to upskill too. You know, if you show a hiring manager or any kind of job or position you want to go into that you've come out of the military or you're a military spouse and you've decided, well, I want to get into cybersecurity. Sure. I've done this training and I'm now certified to hit an entry-level position. That's going to be another perk in itself, that you've shown that kind of application to try to get yourself into a new place. Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Thank you. Eric, I just, before we go into it, because I want to ask a bit more questions about you personally. Yeah. You. So the tough ones are coming. Oh. But before we jump onto that, one of the questions, actually, this is something that I ask everyone that's on the show. What's one piece of advice that you would give a veteran or a spouse going through their transition journey or career shifting journey? about getting into either cyber or retraining? What's a piece of advice?
I mean, it's probably the most generic one that you probably hear from out of us, but just don't be afraid. Especially of cyber. So a lot of things in tech and of cyber have a lot of jargony words and a lot of big terms and a lot of people talking about really large scale things.
Sure.
Especially when it comes to cyber, a lot of it's about infrastructure that I think a lot of people in general get too afraid that it's too big for them.
Yeah, or too technical.
Too technical, too big, too anything. That's from what I've seen working with veterans coming, some of them straight out, even our colleague Josh, who's going to be coming on in the next session, he's finished up in the Navy 19, 20 days ago.
Yeah.
So he is ready to come straight out and hop into a really good role for us. And I think what is the most important thing to remember is that you shouldn't be afraid of trying to train yourself in a new skill because you've already got the other skills that'll facilitate better learning, especially people coming out of the military. You've got those kind of communication skills, that application, the understanding of how to get a job done, is that something that's definitely way more valuable than a lot of other, or our current kind of socioeconomic hiring model would make you think.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, that's a really great point. And, it's different because it's in its own ways, but it is kind of realistically, it does come down to that thing of that confidence level. We just want to make sure, and I suppose that's why we set the model the way that we do, the With You, With Me way, is that, that first sort of introduction to our business is about meeting a pathfinder, going through the testing, getting those debriefs and getting you to understand why you actually have the potential to be able to go into a pathway like cyber and stuff like that. And then like you explained, that learning model, that retraining model is about going, oh, okay, I can do this. And you've got a cohort of people, if you want to work in a community, you can.
Exactly.
Or if you don't want to and you're more of an intrapersonal learner and you just kind of want to do your own thing, that's okay too.
100%, yeah. We don't judge when it comes to what kind of learning you want to do or the extent to which you want to go with your skills. Even if you're just using our courses to kind of set the trajectory for your transition out and that you want to get used to doing a different style of work, we're happy to do that too. You know? So it's to whatever extent you want our services to help your transition and help you to move into the tech world, is we're happy to facilitate.
Perfect. And I think that's a really good point to emphasize, that, which is what I really like about our model. It's even though it seems like it's like, well, there's a process, it's actually, it's really quite individualized, because if you want to be an intrapersonal learner and you don't necessarily want to engage in those things, you don't have to, and that's okay.
It's intimidating when you put it out in the kind of business model perspective too, but it's streamlined to make it accessible, but it's also fluid to make it comfortable.
Correct. Perfect. Yeah, that's great. Great analogy. Love it. So Eric, I would like to know, and I think everyone would be interested to know, I know you gave a little bit of detail in terms of, you were at uni, you finished, and how your journey came to us, but tell us a little bit more about you and who you are.
Ooh, okay. I guess. I don't know. What kind of things do you want to know, Javiera? What do you want to know about me?
So I know you said you the folks maybe not, but Eric actually lives in Canberra. Have you been a Canberra boy all your life? Or?
No, I grew up in west of Sydney, in the country-ish, more country people from like Wagga and stuff like that.
Okay.
But do you know Bowral?
Yeah.
I grew up in Bowral. So,
okay, really?
Yeah, originally I guess I was born in Queensland. So
really? Where were you born in? Whereabouts in Queensland?
Oh, just in Brisbane.
Oh, Brisbane.
So kind of Queensland, kind of not. Depends on what you think about it.
Yeah.
But still cop a lot of flack from a New South Welshman for being a Queenslander at heart. But
don't worry, I grew up in Queensland, so like in North Queensland, so like in
well,
town
you're the kind of person like Brisbane. Oh,
yeah.
Not quite Queensland.
No,
but.
it is. It's still a part of it, so
exactly. So moved to New South Wales, out to Bowral when I was probably like 5 years old, I think.
Sure.
And so I just did all my schooling out there.
Oh, wow. You went to school in Bowral as well.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
primary school and high school?
Yeah. I went to public school in Bowral and then went to high school, Javiera College. And then shout out, I guess. But
yeah. And when did you go to university then?
Uni, I started in 2016.
Yeah, but where? Which
uni? Where? ANU in Canberra.
Oh, so then you moved. Oh,
yeah,
right.
then I moved out, straight out to Canberra.
Right.
Yeah, because, Dad lived in Sydney, didn't want to live with Dad. wanted to get out of the house a bit, so went to Canberra. They had I'm really interested in like both history and international relations, and
Wow.
so
So you did a double degree?
no, it was 2 majors.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, and so out of that, I found ANU to be the best kind of school there.
They're a great uni. Like, ANU's a very good uni.
Oh, top notch. I had a very good time as well.
Yeah.
And so went to ANU, 3.5 years, did my degree.
Sure.
And had a great time.
And you graduate soon, I remember.
Yes, my ceremony's on the 13th of December. I'm very excited to get those robes on.
Yes.
Finally get my bit of paper.
Yeah, and what's your colour band?
I think it's blue. I think
Okay.
it's blue at the ANU. Yeah.
Cool, there you go. And then a little bit more about you. Now, we had a bit of onboarding sort of little get together last week, and you were here, but your girlfriend was here as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so tell everybody, come on,
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, yeah.
He went red if you didn't notice when I asked him that question.
Soph was up. Sophie, my girlfriend, was up, and got to meet the gang, which was very awesome.
Yeah.
Because I love everybody that I work with.
Awesome.
I love everyone at the company. And came up here, did my onboarding, which was kind of like the half onboarding, because I've been around for a while, but I'm moving to full time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we're both heading into the tech world. I mean, I'm in cyber. She's going to be moving into tech at PricewaterhouseCoopers.
Oh, cool. What's she doing?
Well, she's just in the grad program there.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, which is really awesome.
So what degree did she go to?
She went to ANU as well.
What did she do?
International Security Studies.
Wow.
Yeah, it sounds a lot cooler.
Yeah, sorry.
it's a very big, cool name.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, and then she got and where she got PwC?
PwC in Canberra, yeah.
Okay,
so we're both
cool.
looking to stay in Canberra for a while.
Okay, good.
Because as well as being into tech, we're both kind of into that strategy, foreign policy stuff too.
Nice.
Yeah, so kind of looking to, stick around in tech, maybe build some networks, move in between private and public service kind of thing.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice. And how long have you guys been dating then?
7 years.
What?
Yeah, we've been together since high school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I knew you were going to ask that, actually.
Oh, my God. Hang on a second.
Yeah.
So you guys were like high school sweethearts, then both got into ANU.
Yeah, and that wasn't like a decision together either. It was both like, oh, cool, how cool. We lived on campus for the first 2 years, and we're on the same floor as well.
Oh, really?
It's kind of weird when you put together all these kind of coincidences. It sounds like
that's
too good to be true.
No, that's the universe talking and keeping you two
together.
True.
Yeah, it is.
No, that's not coincidence.
That is the universe. You're
that's
correct.
That's the universe going,
I reckon.
hang on a second, because you didn't ask for that. It just,
didn't ask for that at all. So, bit of a sign, which is good.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
so far,
great.
so good. But yeah.
Cool. And then, so when does she started work there?
She'll be starting in March. She's part of like the 2020 cohort.
Okay, cool. And she graduates at the same time as you do?
Yeah, she did her honours this year, which is
right.
and because she did her honours at UNSW Canberra at ADFA as a civvy. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that was really cool. Met a lot of cool people out of that.
And what was her research like?
Her research was on water governance and gender roles in Cambodia.
Wow.
Yeah, so she was looking at how water is managed in rural Cambodia and the roles that women have to play in that, and how the policy decisions affect that. So it's very, very big, very complex, very, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Does she get to go? Or?
No, she didn't get to do field work, which is one of the things she kind of kicks herself about because.
Did she get the opportunity to do that or not?
She's currently also in a kind of research project internship with UNICEF, I think.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Oh no, Oxfam. Sorry, Oxfam.
Okay.
Yeah. And so there's possibility of getting published, and she's very interested in the field. So.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's very awesome.
Oh wow, that so when does that? That's happening at the moment.
Yeah, that's still currently happening. Because got a couple months until she starts work at PwC. So.
I mean, so she's definitely not going to be bored. She's
definitely not bored.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. So yeah, okay. Well, I think I've asked enough. Is there anything else that you want to sort of add?
I don't know. I guess when it comes to that, having someone that works in the same field, or we've been kind of parallel in our journeys, both through education and now into employment, is really motivating. And I think that's something she always makes me want to do better, and I hope I do the same for her. But she's just such a high achiever. It's just really inspiring to be around someone like that.
And that's really cool. Actually, that's a really good point, because I think there are obviously, a large percentage of our veteran cohort of people that we have are partnered. And I think that's part of what our squad model is.
Yeah, our squad model and the home squads, what would be awesome to see is more veterans and their spouses getting into the program and pushing themselves through it. I mean, that's just kind of popped in my head now, but I think seeing that kind of initiative is something that, if you're anxious about getting into the program, ask your partner, ask your significant other, ask a family member, a brother, a cousin, something like that, because we often offer that avenue too, to kind of, look, mate, I'm a bit anxious about this. Let's go through it together. And it's very inspiring to kind of take a journey like that with someone else.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, because we've got time, so I want to elaborate on that.
Yeah.
Because what you're talking about is you basically have an individual, so for you it's Soph, that has helped push you through
100%.
your journey, you know what I mean? Like, she's equally done that for you, and you have done that for her, right? And I think that's a really good point in terms of what our home squad program is. It's about that military veteran that could be going into that tech role, the spouse who we know from the research that's been done by the Department of Defence, and this is a global thing. It's definitely not isolated to Australia. But military spouses have to do career changes when they actually get posted.
Yeah, and it's an extremely brutal position to be in, because you want to be with that, the person you love, your significant other. Yeah. But there are career things that you want, career goals and aspirations that you want to hit too.
Of course.
And it's really sad to see people. A lot of the time as well, it's more often than not, women as well have to sacrifice those kind of things. Yeah. And, there's hard enough barriers for women coming into industries anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think it's definitely one of the parts that I think we try to facilitate really well, and that I love seeing and would love to see more developed too, is offering that kind of opportunity.
Yeah, so I think maybe actually people that are listening to us, if you're actually currently on our program, invite your other half. And if you don't have a significant other, but you've, let's say, got a brother or a sister or something like that,
exactly.
Actually call us up and, we'll see, because I think there are people that actually do learn better together.
100%. It's another one of the learning styles, that kind of social learning. And if we can facilitate that too, we'd love to put you through it like that.
Yeah, because I think it's really important too, especially from the military training, and even from a family cohort, like you were saying, you were touching on with you and Soph. It's that togetherness of knowing that you can achieve. You're stronger together than you are apart,
And that dynamic works in different ways too. For some people, it's a bit of competition,
But in a good way.
Yeah. Oh, friendly competition. I mean, we don't like to facilitate. Not friendly competition, but it's a bit of like, let's see who can do really well.
Bit of competitiveness is okay.
Exactly, and that comes out in a lot of people. I'm not very competitive like that. For me, it's that kind of support role.
Good.
And it's that kind of pushing each other to do better.
Yeah. So, no, that's a really great point. So, so I suppose, look, we do have a home squad program. It is open. It actually is applicable to all our pathways. And we're really obviously open to kind of, having more people involved. So if you haven't heard about our home squads program, jump online, have a look at our website. There is obviously a link to it that'll give you some more information, or, talk to one of our pathfinders when you connect for a call. We'd be more than happy to discuss. I know me personally, as a military spouse, that's been something that I have lived experience by, that I know that I've changed careers frequently when my husband, Kamal has been posted and stuff like that. And it's one of those things that we are going to make sure, I think, we really sort of focus on for 2020.
Definitely.
Because it is really important. And like you were saying, it does fit in with our mission.
Yeah. It fits with our mission, and I think it fits with a lot of how we function as a company. Is, we're doing good work, but we're always asking, what can we be doing better?
Exactly.
And that's another way to just really increase the kind of the aims we're trying to achieve.
Sure.
The mission itself. Yeah. Is by getting those who haven't had the opportunities that they would have had if they didn't choose to serve.
Sure.
Give them those opportunities and give back to them like they gave back to us. So
yeah, exactly. Definitely. And that's equally passed on to their partners, because, whilst the serving member is away serving, usually that significant other is there, either being a sole parent or trying to work and stuff like that. And that's a difficult dynamic to sort of be in. So I think it's really important for us as an organisation, because it ties in with our mission of solving underemployment. And, the significant other can be affected by that as well. So yeah, that's a really great point. I'm glad actually you brought that up. We kind of, that definitely wasn't in one of our questions that we ever, so it's great.
Yeah.
Perfect. And I've asked you about that. Well, Eric, I think, we've kind of got everything that I need. I know, unless there's any final comments that you sort of want to make.
I guess in general, I love being here. It's
Yeah.
honestly, it's been the awesomest environment to come into, and
Cool.
I love being able to facilitate learning and learn more myself, and hop on the CSA course or any of our other pathways, but I'm always going to be partial to cyber.
Yeah.
But
Actually, probably a good point. When is our next CSA course?
Yep. So our next cohort starts for our cybersecurity analyst course on the 27th of January.
Okay,
is when our next cohort starts.
Yeah.
At the moment, we're working towards a model where you can access all of the lessons on your own time.
Sure.
But if you want to participate in our guided, assessed, and fully certified cohort, January 27th, and it's a 12-week cohort, as you mentioned earlier, about 100 hours, but that's completely up to both the applicant's background and their aptitude and how much time they can put into it as well.
Absolutely.
Because we have people that transition out, they're getting their stuff sorted, and they go, I'm going to dedicate this full time. But we also have people that they're still on their jobs. They're still posted.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're still working as well. So we definitely cater to all audiences too. We don't expect that kind of full-time 9-to-5 study either.
No, of course. Yep.
Often the model's kind of like an hour a day or a couple hours on weekends or whenever you can fit it in. And we'll always accommodate to that too. We're not very strict when it comes to you need to get that kind of stuff going. So
perfect. Thank you, Eric. So look, the last thing, I wanted to sort of say thank you. It's been, I know that, we've known each other for, quite a while now. Yeah. And you've always been to me someone that lights up a room. You have this persona about you. Even last night when you were facilitating the event, that it's you're comforting. People
you're going to make me blush again.
No, but people feel at ease because, like I said, the conversations that we had, it was really enriched, and they were like, they just felt comfortable to be able to talk about things and stuff like that and ask really good questions. And I think maybe that's a natural style that you've always had. But I think
I just love talking. Teachers always said to my parents, man, this kid talks too much. So
nah, that's a good thing.
I've tried to curb it. I think sometimes I can keep my mouth shut, but I always like to have a bit of a chin wag. So
nah, don't change. Yeah, you got other people that are like that.
Thanks, Javiera.
Leave them. So thank you again, Eric, and I just want to thank you for obviously your commitment for being with us and being part of our squad family. And helping really change the community that we're having in Australia, which is fantastic. So thank you. So that's it for this podcast episode, everyone. Thanks so much for listening. Just a little bit of recap on our BeFierce podcast, knowing that this is our opportunity, obviously, to provide a medium to you guys to understand that, talk about the veteran success stories that we have, highlight some of the amazing people that work within our organisation, and also to speak to some of our employers who are doing fantastic work in this space and some of the community members that we partner with. Don't forget to follow us on all our social platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. If you can listen to us on 8 different channels, but really it's probably Spotify or Apple Podcasts that you guys really do listen to. There's someone here that I'd never ever heard of before, so I'm not even going to repeat them. Make sure in terms of events, if you want to know any more about any of the events or what we're doing, have a look at it on our website. They're all available on there. I know the upcoming event on the Tuesday, the December 10 is our automation event that we're having here in the Sydney office. If you want to leave us any feedback, like what Eric said, what we love about our company is that we listen and we provide, giving people the opportunity to provide feedback so that we can improve. Please tell us and let us know. There's actually opportunity to provide feedback on our LMS as well, through our portal, So that's it, folks. Thanks so much for listening. Those people listening on podcasts, which is usually me. So I'm trying to look at the camera more, people, that everyone says that on the YouTube channel. I just like having conversations.
Yeah, I know. It's very conversational. And it's kind of hard to get away from that.
So yes, but I'm looking at the camera. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks so much. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
Bye.